when the ANC goes, not if, but when. This is what Trade Union Federation Cosatu is contemplating about the future of its alliance partner. Ahead of its 14th National Congress later this month, the Labour movement has signalled strong warnings to the governing party to address a number of challenges or face the prospect of losing power. What will that mean for the tripartite alliance and more specifically for Cosatu itself? Bekinjani Njali is Cosatu's General Secretary and joins us now on the line. Thank you so much for being available to do this with us this morning. I appreciate it.
Good morning, and good morning to your listeners.
The writing is on the wall for the ANC, is it not?
If you follow the statistics for the past few general election, it's true. Declining consistently. So it means you are approaching the door, and very soon you might be out of the door unless being changed drastically.
Now, possibly in its darkest hour, will you ditch them?
Look, sometimes the darkest hour may be the beginning of a new dawn. We don't know. I think all what needs to be done is within the ANC itself to redeem itself of the challenges. Whether it's capable of doing that is yet to be seen. Historically, they've been saying that the ANC, when it faces major challenges, it manages itself to come out and regroup. We're not sure this time whether that is going to happen.
Of course, there is life after the ANC, is there not? The DA, we now know, runs or governs most of the metros in the country, certainly the biggest. The sky did not fall through.
Yeah, of course, not for the workers. The DA posture for us has been always anti-worker, pro-privatization, and a number of issues that are worrying for the general membership of Cosatu. That's why sometimes people try to stick what they know best, and historically is what people have been pronouncing. And DA doesn't give us that hope, and many of the political parties doesn't give that hope, and the attraction to the working class that should they become in government, they will do better.
You've cited, of course, factions, corruption and criminality as having weakened the party, and that's what they've been crippled by.
Correct. Everybody knows that in the ANC, many of its leaders have been found wanting, hands on the till, and they seem to be just doing it with impunity. And some of them have managed to corrupt the system that must or should hold them accountable. So it's a big challenge. It's not only, I think, for the whole country, for ourselves, because if we are not careful, it is going to be the survival of the fittest, and people who got means will be able to rule. We can tend to be we're a failing state. We could tend to be a mafia state.
Your critics will say, yet for all of that, you stood aside and watched, as you still do today.
No, I think they will be not correct. We have raised a number of issues. We said when the ANC is doing good, we'll be the first to pronounce it. When they are not doing good, we'll be the first on the street. And in many occasions, no other organization in this country has pulled a protest action on the streets, raising the issues with the ANC, with government, with retrenchment, including the bosses. No one has done that one. We are doing it almost every day in our life.
Your descriptions, though, this morning have been quite evocative. You're talking about a possible mafia state, certainly a failing state. Does that suggest, then, you have no influence over the party?
We do have an influence, but limited. Remember, the ANC is a contested party. We go to the ANC itself, and we go to the National Policy Conference. We make a great strides. We win the debate. We win as to what needed to be done. Then it goes to the next stage, which is the implementation stage by government. And all those things just crumbled. And the ANC itself seems to be so weak in terms of holding those that are in government accountable. Regrettably, we have not managed, because our push was then we need a reconfigured alliance so that we can be able, in the influence of saying, Minister A&A is not performing, the Minister A&A has to leave. That issues. But when you do that, then you'll got some criticism, like the issues of the deployment committee, whether it's doing it right, to tell government what to do. So we're in that dilemma as to what next we need to do to ensure that those that are in government are accountable, they are reshuffled, and they are pushed out. They said that is a governance issue. We should not be involved in those scenarios.
But surely there's a disconnect between the alliance as it currently stands and the description of the ANC you are giving and why you might remain part of that alliance.
As I indicated, that our remaining in the alliance, as we have said, is not a permanent alliance. The technical alliance is based on the transition, the revolution that needs to take place. Remember, our ultimate goal is about socialism, but in the processes, you need many people that think alike to a particular degree, political and ideological, and it is in that context that we are in the alliance, and it is in that context that every Congress of Cosatu, the future of the alliance, whether we remain in the alliance, whether we support the ANC or not, become the biggest debate. So in these our congresses, that issue is on the debate. It's going to be discussed, and if the majority of people strongly feel we still have to remain in the alliance and still support the ANC, so it's going to be that decision.
The alliance has proved fatal, some would say, for the labour movement, has it not?
In some degree, yes. If you talk politically, not. If you talk economically, I think it has been a disaster. If you look to the question of electricity, energy supply, if you look, broadly, just look to the collapse of the state-owned enterprises, which are in the main supposed to be driven and piloted by the governing party. In that instances, you can't deny, you can't have any other description except that it has been a disaster.
And it has been a disaster for workers, because you've identified a gap between the ANC's leadership and society. This ANC, you have said, has alienated workers by staying in an alliance with them. That then would solely suggest that you also have done the same. Just look at your national shutdown last week. That was a damp squib.
No, it was not a damn squib in our view, because what we wanted to raise was not raising only for the workers. Had anybody join us, we're raising the cost of living for everybody, not only our members, but for all the working class. And seemingly not everybody see it in that light. Hence, you go to the election, not only the workers vote for the ANC. Our members, about 1.6 million, but how many people vote for the ANC?
Yes, but how many people showed up at your shutdown last week? You're raising issues we're all painfully aware of. But the point I'm making is that even as you criticize the ANC or even march against it, you are surely also doing it against measures you had a hand in. That is hypocrisy, isn't it?
No, it is not. In a struggle, you continuously raise issues in which you believe they are correct. And we continuously engaging the society and said what the society thinks about the issues that we're raising. What we get it from a number of people is that we agree with what we are saying. Nobody has told us that our plan in regarding to the energy security supply and how ESCOM should be funded and be able to provide its work. I think the majority of people agrees with us. When we're talking about the state-owned enterprises that they needed to be revamped, we hear many people say Cosatu are raising issues correct. When we say the price of petrol in regarding to the high taxes needed to be reviewed, a number of people say to us we are raising the correct things. And whenever we got different views, we say to the people, if you think Cosatu views are not the correct one, tell us what are the correct policy options that we need to be driving.
Some of those policy issues are being raised by everyone and his uncle, including opposition parties and NGOs. Here's one for you, Big Njali. If the election were held today, would you support the ANC?
Cosatu, whenever elections are conducted, we don't take unfounded views. We go back to our members, because it's our members that are voting. We'll ask them and say, ANC is going to the election tomorrow. How do you want to vote?
All right, we'll leave it there. Begin Njali, Cosatu's General Secretary. I appreciate your time. Is it time for Cosatu, do you think, to exit this alliance?
Current events, developing stories,
tough questions.
Your voice making a difference.
This is Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa.